Dive. Today we're tackling something, well, pretty difficult, but also really common. We're looking at that moment when love, genuine commitment, starts to feel different, when it twists into something more like fear, fear-driven clinging.
Hmm.
Our mission here is to really unpack that tipping point. The subtle shift where healthy connection slides into anxious dependence. The sources we've got really zero in on this.
They do. And it's crucial because it creeps up on you. We're trying to pinpoint when love stops feeling like, well, warmth, like ease,
Right.
and starts feeling like hard work, like constant pressure. That's how fear kind of sneaks in and rewrites the rules of commitment.
Warmth versus work. That's a really clear way to put it. And the sources give us this great hook, don't they? It's the difference between your mind saying, yeah, this is love,
Absolutely.
but your body, your physical self, is whispering something else entirely. Something like, hang on, this feels like survival.
Exactly. If your system is registering threat in your relationship, we need to figure out why.
Okay, so let's start where the source material says the truth often shows up first, in the body. We often misread those physical signs, don't we? Like tightness, anxiety. We think it means we care so much.
We do. We confuse that worry with devotion.
So maybe your partner's busy, or they haven't texted back, or they just need a bit of space. What happens inside? The material describes it so well, that tight chest, maybe shallow breathing.
Yeah, or that restless energy. Makes you want to pace or grab your phone again and again.
And we label that, oh, I'm just so in love, or I'm worried about them.
But this is a key point the sources make. You're actually mistaking anxiety for affection, that urgent feeling. It's not commitment speaking. It's your body bracing for loss.
Bracing for loss.
Wow, think about it. That adrenaline rush when you can't reach someone. It feels like a threat response because deep down, your sense of safety feels tied to that person's constant presence or validation.
So my nervous system is essentially freaking out.
Pretty much. If your inner peace hinges entirely on their next text, their immediate reassurance, that's not connection anymore. That's dependence. You've turned love into something you feel you have to, like, frantically manage.
That sounds exhausting. The cost of managing that must be huge.
It really is. And this leads to a core idea. Real love has room to breathe. There's space. Clinging, though, it gasps. It's desperate for air. And that gasp, that constant need for reassurance, it stems from this deep, often unconscious belief. I'm not safe unless I'm chosen right now, explicitly.
So if that choice isn't reconfirmed constantly?
The system panics.
Yeah.
It's not really about their well-being in that moment. It's about your feeling of security.
Got it. Okay, so my anxiety isn't about them, it's about me, my security.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And being in that constant state of bracing, it wears you down, which leads us right into how this physical panic starts messing with your emotional decisions in the relationship.
Okay, so that feeling of not being safe, it doesn't just stay physical, does it? It starts showing up as demands, spoken or unspoken. The sources suggest this is where love turns into actual suffering, when it's ruled by that fear of, I'm not enough.
Exactly. That fear becomes the engine.
And it fuels these conditions, these tests you put on the relationship, trying to get something you feel is missing inside you. We see these demands pop up, right? Like, if you really loved me, you'd prove it by doing whatever.
If you cared, you'd text back right away. You'd put me first.
Yeah, and maybe the most damaging one is internal. Okay, if I just give more, try harder, maybe then you'll stay. Maybe then you'll fill this emptiness.
And this brings us to a really critical point from the sources. The difference between loving the actual person in front of you versus loving their potential.
Ah, yes, the potential trap.
It's huge. When we're driven by that fear, that lack, we often fall for a future version of the person, the fixed version, the healed version, not the real messy human right here.
It's like trying to renovate someone with your love.
Exactly. And you expect your love to be the building material. The source material puts it starkly. If you're fixated on their potential, you're not loving them. You're loving your own longing wearing their face.
That's powerful.
It is. The person just becomes a screen for your own unmet needs. So when the inevitable disappointment hits, it's crushing.
But it's not because they changed.
Not usually. It's because the fantasy you built collapses. The fantasy was holding everything up. And when it goes, fear floods in. And that fear looks like managing, fixing, controlling.
Which we call caring.
Right. But the sources are clear. It's panic. Panic wearing a gentle disguise, trying to micromanage reality to keep that fantasy alive just a little longer.
And once that managing and fixing starts, the whole feel of the relationship changes, doesn't it? It stops being generous and becomes, well, transactional, rigid. The sources talked about how fear sneaks in this really destructive habit, scorekeeping.
Well, the silent ledger.
Exactly. It's often quiet, but it's always running. Every kind act becomes an exchange, or even a test. You see it everywhere, right? Okay, I texted first this morning, so they owe me a faster reply later.
Or, I went to all that trouble planning the weekend, so they should just know what I need now without me saying it.
Yes, there's this underlying demand for perfect symmetry. I put in this much effort, they need to meet me exactly halfway.
If you dig into the psychology, scorekeeping is basically fear trying to create a system of fairness to guarantee it won't get hurt or shortchanged.
Because it's terrified of being unseen or giving more.
Precisely. Terrified of being taken advantage of, left vulnerable, so it builds this mental ledger to make sure that no matter what, the books show you're owed something. It's a defense against total loss.
Okay, but hang on. Some might argue, isn't tracking things sometimes necessary? Especially if you feel constantly overlooked. How do you tell the difference between scorekeeping and just having, like, reasonable expectations?
That's a really important distinction. Reasonable expectations involve clear communication, stating your needs, your limits, and being willing to accept if they can't be met. Scorekeeping is different. It's based on secret calculations.
Ah, secret calculations.
Yeah, it holds back generosity until it feels a perceived debt has been paid.
Yeah.
But love isn't a math problem, is it? It's not about symmetry. It's about sincerity.
Sincerity, not math. I like that.
When that genuine giving starts turning into accounting, tracking every text, every concession, sincerity just curdles into resentment and the end result. It's that draining, quiet fatigue the sources mentioned. It just settles over everything and kills the joy.
Because you're constantly doing emotional bookkeeping.
Exactly. It's exhausting.
And that deep exhaustion often gets misunderstood, too. People think, okay, I need distance to be free, or maybe the opposite, I need total closeness to feel safe. But the sources challenge both ideas, right? They say real safety isn't about proximity or control, it's about honesty.
Yes, this is a really powerful reframing.
When we're in that clinging mode, we believe the only way to feel secure is to manage the outcome. Like, if I can just control their behavior or make them reassure me enough, then they won't leave.
But that control is an illusion, and it's utterly draining.
So what's the alternative?
Honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Real safety doesn't come from what they do, it comes from your truth. And this is where boundaries become so crucial. There's this huge misconception that boundaries are walls, that they block connection.
Right. People think boundaries push others away.
But the source material argues the exact opposite. Boundaries build trust. They actually allow the relationship to relax. When you start clearly naming your own needs, your limits, even your fears, without making it a demand that the other person must change you, you introduce dependability.
So it's less about being afraid of what they might do.
And more about being confident in what you will do, how you'll take care of yourself if a limit is crossed.
Okay. So you stop walking on eggshells, trying to guess what will set them off or make them pull away.
Exactly. When truth is allowed, when limits are respected, you can finally rest. And that rest, that inner confidence in yourself and your boundaries, that's real safety. It grounds you. The relationship becomes an addition to your life, not the thing keeping you alive.
So introducing honesty doesn't make the relationship fall apart.
Often, it makes it sustainable for the first time. It lets it breathe.
Okay, so for anyone listening who recognizes themselves in this pattern, the anxiety, the managing, the scorekeeping, what are the practical steps? What does the source material offer to help someone pull back from that grip and find their footing again?
Well, the first step, maybe unsurprisingly, is awareness. Starting back with the body.
Listening to those physical signals again.
Yes. Really practice tuning in. That tight chest, the shallow breath, the urge to overtext or check their location. These aren't signs of passion. They're alarms. You have to learn to pause. Breathe. Let your body tell its truth before your mind jumps in to rationalize the clinging.
That pause sounds critical. It creates space.
It creates everything.
Yeah.
It separates the raw reaction from a conscious response. And the second key action builds right on that interception. You need to catch the grasp early.
Before you start fixing or demanding.
Exactly. Before the over-explaining, before the manipulation, before the meltdown, pause and gently ask yourself, okay, what am I actually afraid of losing right now?
Naming the fear.
Naming the specific fear. Is it abandonment? Being wrong? Not being enough? Just identifying it takes away some of its power to drive your behavior. It shifts the focus from reacting outward to understanding inward.
So you stop projecting your internal panic onto the situation or the other person.
Precisely. Which leads to the third and really the ultimate step, returning to self-respect, standing firmly in your own worth. When you know your value isn't dependent on this relationship, the need to grip dissolves.
Love doesn't need to clutch anymore.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Because fundamentally, whether the relationship continues in its current form or not, the sources are really clear on this. Clinging isn't deep love. It's panic in disguise. It's love getting twisted into a desperate self-preservation tactic.
Okay, let's do a quick recap then. We've looked at how fear hijacks love, turning it into this exhausting contract of conditions. I'll love you if you reply, if you stay, if you constantly prove I matter.
Leading to that quiet burnout.
And the big takeaway seems to be that love rooted in genuine self-respect doesn't need that contract. It doesn't need to control. It trusts honesty.
Exactly. The most freeing kind of love isn't about demanding forever. It's about offering the truth of the present. I'm here now, and this presence right here is enough. It's powerful in its simplicity.
So here's the final thought, the thing to really sit with from all this. Maybe the heart's real work isn't just to hold on tighter. Maybe it's actually about seeing things clearly, staying open to what is right now, letting love breathe without being choked by fear or anxiety about the future.
A profound shift in perspective.
It really is. So the question for you listening becomes, what might you need to let go of today? What fear, what condition, what need to control? What could you release to allow your relationships, and maybe even yourself, to finally relax?